Hi there, guys. Welcome to another episode of TA. My name's Keish from Blockchain Sensei, and this is.
And I am Łukasz, also known as Mr. Spectacular from the Blockchain Sensei team as well.
And we're gonna get into these charts. So yeah, let's go.
So the way I like to look at this is from a high perspective to a low perspective. So in the current marketplace, the overall crypto market and Bitcoin specifically is also dictated by the way stocks move. So I like to look at stocks first, followed by Bitcoin, followed by the rest of the crypto market. Because if everything else is in the bear market, crypto being the most risky and volatile asset class is unlikely to have massive pumps. So let's have a quick look at the S&P 500. Let's have a look at the daily chart first, and then have a look along the smaller time frames. So here we are on the daily, obviously massive run of the last couple months, and since pretty much this end of December last year, we've been in a downtrend with a bit of a bounce here and there, and this is where we find ourselves currently. So we've bottomed out at around 3,580, bit of a wick down lower, and slight uptrend on this side, which personally I don't think will continue, mainly due to the fact that the Fed has made it clear that they will continue to raise interest rates in order to combat inflation. And Mr. Powell has made it clear that there will not be a soft landing in the highest probabilities. But what do you think, Ish? What's your take on this?
Yeah, I think market conditions are gonna be getting a little bit worse from what I've been seeing, and from the reports that we've been reading as well, because we ran through the Coinbase report, and from that report, we definitely had a lot of there was a lot of mentions of market conditions getting worse, but just seeing the state of the world and where we are currently, there's a lot of things that are showing that there will be more instances and more events that will affect the markets further. And also, we've been seeing a lot of things happening within the crypto space with a lot of the centralized exchanges falling, right? And yeah, these things are also coming into play and having an effect on the market. So yeah.
Yeah, definitely, especially when it comes to the recent collapse of FTX, which came as a shock to a lot of people. I personally know a couple guys who lost quite a bit of money. They had stored on that exchange, which also is a reminder to everybody watching this that you should never keep more money on an exchange than is necessary.
Yeah.
There is a tool called leverage, which is misused by most. They just use it to trade with money they don't have, which, if used responsibly, can be used to mitigate your risks. Let's say you have £10,000 and $10,000 to trade with. You keep 2,000 on the exchange, apply 5x leverage, and that gives you the full capability of your capital without risking all of it. And
Yeah.
in this recent run-up of the S&P 500, because of the collapse of FTX and a couple major players that got wiped out as a result, we've essentially missed out on a massive pump that could have happened, because in the exact same time frame when the index was going up, many companies listed on the stock market were seeing gains in their price. Bitcoin and crypto as a whole essentially did the exact opposite. We've had a drop from just over 21k Bitcoin down to around 15.5 at its worst, which a lot of people have called the bottom to Bitcoin because it was a major black swan event. Personally, again, I don't think we've seen the worst of it because
there's a little bit of a further leg down. That's very visible. I mean, there's another level of support that's a bit lower. And I do believe that that will definitely reach it. Um, but what is the RSI currently on Bitcoin?
so if we look at the daily, RSI is around 48.
Okay.
It has the room to go either way from this, but looking at the macro perspective, if your stocks might go down, you're definitely not going to hold Bitcoin, definitely not going to hold Ethereum or any of the smaller market cap coins, which are way more risky.
Mm-hmm.
Also, people are losing jobs, inflation is still going up, things are getting more and more expensive. People don't have the money to gamble on some speculative coins. They will, if they do anything, it might be either a complete gamble, which if I was a whale, I would definitely take advantage of it and punish that move. But there isn't enough money in circulation, I think, for the price to be pushed significantly up. We might go back to 20, 21. That would be the most we can do, at least for the foreseeable future. What do you think?
Yeah, I think I think that there is definitely another leg down that could be possible, but there's another possibility due to obviously manipulation in the market, because as we know, all of the larger institutes and the big money really runs and rules the market. We could be seeing coming closer, like nearer to the end of this year, sort of like a fake out. So that would be where the market pumps up, and then of course, like near the Christmas period and everything, a lot of people will be excited, and then there'll be a big fall off coming into Q1 of 2023. That's if the market does go up, but um, I do believe that there is definitely a lot more possibilities that it will go further down, just because of the market conditions and just where we are in the world at this present moment in time. But I think it'll be good to look at where the liquidity is within that as well. Um, and there's something that I use called a VPVR.
Yeah.
So the VPVR, you can basically see exactly where the market volume is, and at what price points. And this is what I utilize to have a deeper understanding of where liquidity is within the markets that can basically give Bitcoin support or allow it to drop further down to what points you can then see. Additionally, you could also with FTT and FTX, when I used the VPVR, I was able to see that there was a really low liquidity, um, past almost like just a bit under a bit of support, and then from that point when it got into that point into the market, we then saw that heavy crash, which I thought was visible in the markets, and it was very interesting to see that play out. But the VPVR is a volume profile visible range, and just simply it basically shows where the volume is in the market and at what price points. If we look at it now, we can see that there's quite a lot of buyers up around about the 19,000 range. Exactly at the price points we are now, there are more buyers than sellers, as you can see. And yeah, there's quite it looks like there's quite a lot of support within these ranges, to be honest with you, looking at the VPVR. But I think that this just gives you that extra little bit of insight with your TA. So if you have your trend lines and your support lines, and you can see what trend the market is in, you can also see where the liquidity is at within those points, and I think that's very useful.
Awesome. Shall we have a look at some of the other coins? what they
Yeah, so I think we should look at, Ethereum, see how Ethereum is right now. Um, and funny enough, I've seen a little bit of a relationship with Ethereum and XRP as well. There's a little bit of a reverse relationship. Um, but yeah, let's have a look.
Yeah, Ethereum itself has also had a bit of a choppy couple months. There was that run up prior to the transition to proof of stake,
Yeah,
but it was a typical case of, okay, we'll buy the rumor, but we'll sell the news. So
yeah,
once
literally,
it
it was.
happened,
Yeah, that point was kind of crazy. I mean, to see if ETH 2.0 goes so smoothly and then everything falling, it was kind of crazy because a lot of people, and even from what I was researching and looking at, just because with Ethereum, they now are releasing over 3 times less coins. Um, so the amount of Ethereum that is out there now is less, making it inflationary coin. So it's very interesting to see that it fell.
last year when EIP 1559 was introduced, when ADA finally launched smart contracts, whenever there was a big event coming up ahead, people were buying, prices were rising. But once the thing actually happened, there was no further expectation of gain, at least in the immediate future.
Okay, so if could we zoom out on Ethereum as well and just have a look at the macro?
Again, there's been
It's
a massive jump for where we were, but there's still a lot further down that we can go. And people who bought years ago, they'll still be in profit. They're still
that's
fine.
the incredible thing. Yeah, that's definitely correct. People that who have bought in the long term are still in profit, which is incredible. And yeah, from what we've been seeing in terms of price points, we think that Ethereum could go as low as well around about the 800 range, and then if it goes really low, around about the 600 to 400 range. So there's still, like I've been saying, that further leg down that could happen within the markets. So yeah, but also, yeah, I think that these market conditions, yeah, there's really a lot happening within the world, and there's I do foresee a lot more large news coming out. So just before the end of this year, I see that there will be a lot more news coming out regarding the markets. But of course, the situation with FTX, BlockFi, with USDT, depegging, all of these things are coming into play and sort of perfect for regulation to come in. So I think it's also these things are negatives, but these are also positives. And for those that have their coins on exchanges like Kraken and KuCoin, please do be wary on what amounts you're leaving in your centralized exchanges. Um, and these situations that are happening now are also a big sign to show how decentralized exchanges are needed and necessary. So I thought that it's just very, very important. I think that is definitely the new financial era, and decentralized exchanges are not gonna be anymore. I mean, they will be, but the only major ones that I see surviving are the likes of like the Coinbases and Binance.
Yeah, another interesting thing to notice is in the bear market, a lot of people simply lose interest because they either don't know how to short or they see prices going down, so they simply lose interest and they check out of the game. Whereas if they remained active and paid attention, the projects that do survive these times are the ones that are definitely going to thrive when things get better.
Oh yeah,
Because what we're seeing now, money's leaving the system. The flawed models are getting exposed almost weekly. So
definitely.
the players that do survive, they're the ones that have at least the potential to do well in the future. Maybe they'll get
Yeah.
exposed by something else down the line, but at least for now, they have what it takes to make it to the next level of the game.
Yeah, so let's just have a quick run through. Let's have a look at Solana. We'll have a look at FTM, ADA, and a few others, and sort of see where they are at. And all of
Solana's
these,
been absolutely terrible.
yeah, all
But
of these are really low from the all-time highs. Of course, we are in the crypto winter at this present moment in time. Um, yeah, and especially I've seen there's been a lot of within the space. I've seen a lot of sort of negative news or energy towards Solana. Um, just because they're not really backed. They're not really backed very solidly. The only thing that is very solid, I would say, is the development wing and the development groups that are building on Solana. Um, Other than that, the asset itself isn't strongly backed, unfortunately, from what we've been hearing in the space. But yeah, I think that the only reason why I really was attracted and excited about Solana is really because of the development groups, because the developers create the new applications that then generate the new revenue streams and models that then create profit for the project itself. Um, but yeah, we're seeing Solana falling out right now, as you can see. It looks like it's bottomed out. Is there any further to go? It doesn't look like it is. It looks like it's literally bottomed out.
well, here's the thing with Solana, which it hurts my heart to say it because it was one of my favorite coins the
Yeah.
last year in 2021. And the problem with Solana is it's literally FTX's baby. So it
Yeah.
was massively backed by their VC arm, Alameda. So now with that collapsing, they still have a lot of coins locked up in FTX or Alameda wallets, whichever it might be.
Yeah.
So when that gets unlocked, it will be trouble for
Yeah.
whoever still holds Solana. And like I said, it was one of my favorite projects. It appeared very solid, definitely a lot faster and a lot cheaper than Ethereum. I really liked using it for.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, but it's just the communities are solid. The community is really solid, man. Yeah, I know a lot of people at the Solana teams, and they're really solid people, man. But you can't build your house on sand, you know.
Yep, or on FTX.
Yeah. So let's have a look at FTM. Let's go on Phantom, and then we'll run a little bit of ADA and sort of see what's going on with that as well.
Phantom again. What literally? Well, nothing is doing supremely well in this environment when it comes to crypto. But the major drawdown that happened for Phantom was when one of its major developers decided to just check out of the game and go do something else.
What's the RSI on Phantom?
Pretty high. Had a bit of a pump recently. It's 60. It's around
Oh
60
wow.
on a daily. 60
Wow.
RSI, but the price is, as we can see, it's 23 cents from when it was $3.60 at the peak.
How's the RSI so high? That's wow. Okay. That definitely could have a bit of a leg down as well. I think that could go to where's
Well, it
that?
was 1 cent at one point. It's 23.
Yeah, a little bit above that.
How it goes.
Where does that just before it ran up? Where you are? Yeah, right
Yeah.
there. So around about 10 cent.
Yeah,
That's
it's
what
lower.
that's where it can go.
So it's all looking cheap right now. It's looking ridiculously cheap. But
Yeah, no,
no
but the
matter how
thing is
you look
now,
at it,
of course it's ridiculously cheap, but the thing is now we have to understand the backing behind these companies. This is the perfect time to deep dive and understand who's backing these companies, what are the next innovations that they're building out and what are they focusing on, and also how will that help the bigger players in the space. I think that these are the things that I think we should be looking at. But yeah, let's move on to ADA.
Well,
Okay.
if you look at its bottoms, it's still doing decent. Because you
Yeah,
can't compare it to the top anymore. Like that's gone.
yeah,
A
yeah.
lot of these coins may never see their previous highs just because of how much leverage and lack of oversight was involved.
Well, with ADA, they are the second largest project that have people holding long term, so and staking. So I think that that definitely goes to show and will give them a bit more strength. But yeah, there's a lot of people in ADA on a long term perspective, which is great. Um, but yeah, that's just insane. And to the nearest level of support, what is the percentage up?
So let's say we 30% down. Pretty
Yeah,
easy.
30% down.
And that's
And
optimistic scenarios.
yeah, that's not that bad. And then what about up? So up to the nearest to the nearest resistance.
That's a 40% gain pretty easily.
Yeah, yeah,
And it doesn't take that much to move it. That's the almost almost scary thing. Like
yeah. That's
imagine if
what
Fed
it
started printing tomorrow, how high
is.
do you think it could go?
Yeah, that's true.
But unfortunately, it doesn't look like they're gonna start.
Yeah, I'm seeing signs of some things in the UK. Over in the UK, I'm seeing advertisements from our government saying that we will pay for your heating bills and your electricity bills. So yeah, there's a lot of printing happening for that to even be a possibility. So yeah, we never know. There may be some signs, but on the US side, that with the petrodollar that backs them, it's absolutely to shambles right now. So I don't really see that happening.
Yeah, it's almost as if for us to have relative certainty about crypto moving up, slightly predictable, reliable bull market fashion, we have to have what crypto has never dealt with, which is for the Fed to reverse its monetary policy.
Yeah,
We've had endless years of uptrend bull market movements since 2008, and now
yeah.
dealing with a situation that it's literally never been in.
Let's have a look at Binance, BNB. I've heard that there's been a little bit of negative news on Binance that I've been seeing. And they're like the higher up communities, they don't like Binance or the owner of Binance. I've seen there's a lot of sort of feud like that's been built up over the years, and there's been certain individuals that have also described the creator and owner of Binance as the next Sam Bankman-Fried, um, and sort of as like a crook, a money launderer, etc., etc. So I think that that is very interesting, but there has been a little bit of negative news on Binance saying that they are basically not backed, or there's some assets that are not basically backed fully in their reserves. But they have so much different reserves. I've looked into the wallets of Binance, and I believe I've tracked and traced at least 24 different wallets. And I think there is a lot more. I think there's around about 50 wallets or more. So
Well, if we look at Binance, it's probably retained the most of its value from the time it was at its peak.
yeah,
Look, it peaked out at around what, $660?
yeah,
290 now. It's not that bad. Everything
yeah,
else dropped 90% when we look at altcoins.
yeah. What's that on a percentage basis? 55% down. Yeah,
When Solana is what, 95% down, ADA is
yeah,
90% down.
yeah. Another one. Let's have a look at the BlackRock backed Coinbase, the Google backed Coinbase. Let's have a look at them.
Well, it's basically as low as it's ever been.
Yeah, yeah, I can see that. What's the RSI on that? Oh yeah, for those of you guys that don't know what RSI is, it's the relative strength index. If it is under 30, that means that the asset is um basically undervalued heavily, and if it is over 70, it means that it is overvalued.
So yeah, we're at around 40, maybe 42, 44 right now.
Okay, yeah, not terrible.
And yeah, we're
Yeah,
moving
I
on.
think I think that from the reports that we've been reading, Coinbase, they're making a lot of moves. They have a node management company called Bicentral that they own. They have their collaborations with BlackRock, partnerships with Google, also Chicago Bulls, and yeah, they just really have positioned themselves incredibly. Um, so yeah, I think that Coinbase is one to look at, and their stock will definitely be one to look at as well in the long term perspective. But yeah, as we're seeing, we are sort of in the unknown a little bit with the price points being at its all-time low currently, obviously because it's quite new. So I think that this will be one to watch and see how it plays out over a long period of time to see, and also to understand the larger picture within the stock market to get into this one. But I think that's also one to look at. Yeah, and just going back to cryptos, let's have a look at Avalanche AVAX. Okay, incredible. I see. Okay, everything's literally almost bottomed out. So I see why everyone's saying, it's the bottom, the bottom's in. It's looking so, but
But if
we
everyone
shall.
is saying it is the bottom, is it actually the bottom?
Yeah, yeah, exactly that.
One of the people saying crypto, we are all in this together, but are we really? This is a competitive market, whether we want to admit it or not. For somebody to make money, somebody else has to lose money.
Exactly that.
It
Yeah,
does not come from the ether. Tooth Fairy does not bless us with gains. It comes from somebody else's losses.
exactly. That's so true. And it looks like it's not bouncing, it's kind of almost a little bit going sideways. But yeah, there's definitely room down.
Well, if we go way, way back, it used to be as low as $3.
Yeah, yeah, without a doubt.
So on the chart, if we look at it proportionally to where it was, yeah, it's very, very down.
Oh yeah,
But
definitely.
it can always go lower. Same as with
Yep,
FTX coin, same as with Luna. You think it's as low as it's gonna go. Can always drop another 50%.
yep, exactly that. I think that's something definitely to take into consideration. When going into the markets is dollar cost averaging and just making sure that your positions are evened out, especially at a time like this where we are getting incredible prices to buy in. I mean, things are at an all-time low, but at the same time, it's the fundamentals behind the project. It's who's backing them. It's also the people that are involved. It's very important, as we've been seeing with like FTX, for example. Their internal teams have not been the best. But and there's really a lot of different bits of due diligence that I feel like should be done before any investment is done. This is not financial advice. We're not financial advisors, but I would say dollar cost averaging in is definitely the best option at during this time. And also, please do bear in mind the next Bitcoin halving is in 2024, so we have around about 13 months, give or take, of accumulation. So there's really a good amount of time for dollar cost averaging in, and there's really no rush to get into the market. It's really that slow game right now, and from what I've been seeing, that's basically how we're playing it out right now. Just playing the slow game, the long game, and playing it with a perspective of minimum 5 to 10 years. So yeah. Anything you
Definitely.
would like to add?
On a long enough time frame, if you invest in something that has genuine utility, genuinely strong fundamentals, it's almost impossible to lose, but it's just how long are you willing to give the odds to play out and for the situation to develop itself.
Yeah, I think that that's basically the game. I mean, as we can see, and it's shown through history, um, long-term investment within these markets is the best option, even though the markets have run up tremendously and dipped incredibly. The earlier players in the game are still in profit, and I think that's a big takeaway from today. I think is having that long term mindset is extremely important, and also buying the dip has been successful for over 100 years. So history shows that these different methods are a way of being successful. Within this space. But yeah, definitely the long term play is the way, you know.
Definitely, definitely. And yeah, it's almost like you have to go against your natural instincts of wanting things now, wanting quick gains. Those that have endured all this, and even if you're just getting started, if you're even if you're brand new, there couldn't be a better time to get started. And if
Yep.
you've survived this, you're a veteran, and you definitely have what it takes to make it. It's just layering that skill and the patience and allowing the environment to turn into your favor, which eventually it will.
Oh, definitely. And I would say also one thing that's very important is because we also as humans have our natural instincts and want to be involved in the run and want to be involved in these crazy things that are happening, etc. I think the best thing to do is split out accounts into different things. So have your long-term investment account, have your short-term investment account, have your um, like trading account separate, and these different things allow you to still have like those experiences. If you don't want to lose out on you know, the shibs or the whatnots, you know, all these different craziness that's been happening in the space, which I think is the time where it's dying out now. But if you want to be involved in the craziness, I think having a smaller account that you can utilize for doing whatever the hell you feel is also a smart way to manage as well. If you can't have the discipline to just strictly stick to the plan. So yeah, I think that would be my advice to those that are really struggling to stick to the plan is just split out your accounts. And yeah, what do you think about that, Lukash?
Uh, yeah, that definitely is a good strategy. That's something that I utilized in the past. You can you can gamble, fine. You can close your eyes and just pick out whatever coin and go all in on that, as long as it's within your predefined parameters, and as long as if the move doesn't work, you can still live to fight and play the game another day. As long as you're not wiped
Yeah,
out, fine.
yeah,
But the proportions
definitely.
have to be correct.
Yeah, I mean, even for myself, I have my sort of DeFi heavy decks, staking, etc., swapping out and getting into young projects, etc. Like portfolios, I have my long-term investment portfolios. I've got my trading portfolios separately in stocks and penny stocks. So this is very diversified and split out in a certain way in percentages, and that's sort of how I work. And then also one thing I think is very important, keep your NFTs in a separate wallet as well, because that's a whole nother different when it comes to being taxed as well, it's a completely separate thing. So I think just separating everything is very important. And yeah, if you guys have your money on decentralized exchanges, please do get a cold wallet and cold storage and keep it safe on a physical cold storage. And yeah, I think that I think that's basically the main takeaways from today, if there are any. But yeah, thank you guys so much for your time. It's been myself. I'm Keish or Keish on Rig from Blockchain Sensei. and this is Wukash, otherwise known as Mr. Spectacular. And yeah, it's been a pleasure. And if there's anything specifically that you guys want to see, do let us know, and we'll try out for you.